We all want healthy, glowing skin. And one of the quickest and easiest ways to achieve that is by practicing lymphatic cleansing. Now you might be wondering, Hillary, I've heard of lymphatic drainage, but I haven't heard of lymphatic cleansing. Are they the same? Yes, they're exactly the same. I personally like the way that lymphatic cleansing sounds better, and it really does exactly that. So in this video, we're going to do three things. First, I'm going to introduce you to your lymphatic system, and we're going to talk a little bit about how it works and what it does. I'm going to show you some simple techniques, and then I'm going to show you thirdly and lastly, I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can actually practice lymphatic cleansing at home on your own. So number one, your lymphatic system is your body's housekeeper. It is an organ system, and it actually does connect to your circulatory system. The two, however, operate independently. So I'm going to show you a little diagram here. And what you can see here, this is your heart, and this is how the blood travels out of the heart into the body. And, you know, the blood goes through your blood vessels, through your capillaries, through your arteries, and there is a lot of waste that kind of happens, and there are some products in the blood that actually leach out into the skin or into what they call the outer tissues. And that fluid, you may have noticed, can collect not only when you eat things like salt or alcohol, things that might cause swelling or edema as your body tries to get those ingredients, those things out of your body, but it's also just a natural byproduct of your blood as it passes through your system. Part of it does seep out into your tissues. And once it seeps out into your tissues, it is grabbed it goes by these little lymphatic capillaries. And the lymphatic capillaries actually absorb that interstitial fluid. And if you have a cold, if you have a flu, if there's any sort of a disease that is going on in the skin, it actually is absorbed by those lymphatic capillaries, and then it goes into your lymph nodes. And those lymph nodes are kind of like powerhouses. They are, if you will, the little cleaning powerhouses, the places where that interstitial fluid is cleansed. So for example, if you've ever noticed when you go to the doctor because you feel like you have a cold, they often check your lymph nodes. Sometimes if you have problems with different things going on in the system, you'll notice that you have swollen glands, primarily at the neck, but sometimes in other parts of the body, depending on what's going on. And those cleaning centers, those powerhouses of your lymph nodes, are really what help to filter blood. It integrates white blood cells. It's really where you can help to fight infections, you can fight disease, but it's also how you release toxins and you remove toxins from the body. Now, the circulatory system has a heart. So your heart is always pumping your blood through your system. Now, your lymphatic system does not have a heart, obviously. However, it is stimulated and it's activated in a pump-like manner just from moving, from regular walking, and from regular movement. You have a large mass of lymph nodes underneath your armpit, around your stomach, and even in your groin area. So the motion of walking creates that pump that helps to move the lymphatic system or the lymphatic fluid through your body. So it's really important to get regular exercise. And you may have noticed, and the human body was designed, we are a brilliant machine. It was designed to move and designed to exercise. We were hunting and gathering before we were sitting at desks. So a lot of the obesity and a lot of the stagnant fluid that we can notice collects when we sit at desks or we just sit too much and we're sedentary is because we are not moving the body and stimulating the lymphatic system as it was designed to be stimulated. So it's very important to understand that. I'm going to show you a second diagram, and this shows you, these little green dots show you where the lymph nodes are throughout the body. And you'll notice that there are a lot of them around the neck, right through the arms, a lot of them are around the organs, and then through the groin area. So you stimulate the the body, again, by movement. And that's one of the reasons that exercise is so important. I will do a session on dry brushing, which also helps to not only smooth the skin, improve surface radiance and firmness, but it also helps to stimulate lymphatic cleansing in the body. Now for our face, because it's all the way up here, we don't get as much lymphatic cleansing. So if you've ever noticed, that you wake up in the morning and you have puffy eyes, or your face is really puffy, or you think, you look in the mirror and you think, I'm so bloated today, what is going on? Well, sleeping with our heads flat definitely can allow extra fluid, toxins to, kind of pool underneath the eyes and through the face. And again, because we're not necessarily activating this area just in daily life, it can be much harder. So that's where manual lymphatic stimulation comes in. And that's something that's going to be very important because it's going to do a couple of different things. When you manually stimulate lymphatic cleansing, you're going to actually sweep and move that fluid out of the face down to these lymph nodes where they can then be processed by those powerhouses that help to eliminate toxins and puffiness from the body. Now, you can do this with your hands. You can do it with tools, which I'm going to show you in the next portion. So essentially what we want to do is we want to start by turning on the pump. So I like to kind of start right around this area, and you do have a lot of lymph nodes here, so I will kind of manually stimulate this area. And then if you wanted to practice, the ancient, Chinese movements, you could use your hands along your face. You always want to go in an upward, outward motion. We're going to talk a little bit about the capillaries and why you always want to be going up and then sweeping down. Now, again, the body is a very, very ingenious machine, and the lymphatic capillaries are designed to only flow in one direction, like your blood. So they only, I kind of think of them as a feather, and they actually do have villi in your capillaries. So if you think of a feather likes to be stroked in one direction. If you try to go like this, it's not going to bode well. It likes to go like this. And you do have feather-like villi in the lymphatic capillaries. Now, the lymphatic capillaries are designed to go in one direction because remember, this is fluid, interstitial fluid, that might have some toxins in it. These are things that need to be cleansed from the body, and you really want them to move in one direction towards the heart. They go through the lymph nodes on their way down where they're cleansed on their way. So that's why you always want to go in one direction when you're practicing lymphatic drainage or lymphatic cleansing, because you're pushing those fluids down towards the heart. Now, when you're doing dry brushing, you always want to go, from the arm all the way towards the heart, from the leg up towards the heart. So you're always moving towards the heart center. The same is true with the face. And the other thing that's very interesting are your veins and your capillaries are a little bit deeper than your lymphatic channels. Your lymphatic channels are very close to the surface of the skin, so you want to use very, very light pressure. Facial massage is very beneficial for musculature, for lifting, and I like to sometimes do facial massage and then follow with lymphatic cleansing afterwards, because a deep facial massage for the muscles will actually release some toxins into that interstitial fluid, and then you want to go ahead and sweep that out. So you want to use a very, very, very light touch when doing this as opposed to doing facial massage. Now, we're going to move on now to part 3. I'm going to show you there are so many devices and so many things out there for lymphatic cleansing. We have our traditional jade rollers, and then we have, our ice globes. We have our little rose quartz nodules, and these are good. I mean, you can definitely start at the neck. You can come along the jaw and go downwards. And you might be wondering, Hillary, I was always told that if you're going to apply creams to go in an upwards motion, not a downwards motion. For applying treatment and creams with your hands, that is true, because you don't want to be pulling and dragging the skin down. The skin down. You want to be going up if you're using your hands for creams. But because With a roller, you're actually moving fluid down, and because it's rolling, you can see it's never pulling on the skin. So this is one way to go ahead and stimulate lymphatic cleansing, and you can see I'm always going to go up and down. Now, there is a little bit of a problem with this. You see how this has a dome? If you remember, I said the lymphatic capillaries are very close to the surface of the skin. So what this dome does is it actually acts as a pressure point, and it can close those lymphatic channels, and it can actually, as you're going, it kind of closes them as it's sweeping, so you can actually end up trapping a little bit of interstitial fluid. It's just not as effective. It's certainly not going to hurt you. You're going to have microcirculation. You're going to have a rosy glow on the surface of the skin, because anytime that you are stimulating, that's going to be great. However, there are some real concerns about this arch here. The same is true with these ice globes that feel so good, and you will notice that they will help to depuff, and they will help to, reduce some puffiness. However, you really don't want something this round, because while it can start to move the fluid, it's kind of closing the capillaries at the same time. And now remember, we're always going out and down. You never want to go back and forth, because remember that feather, it doesn't like to go back and forth. You want to keep everything sweeping or moving fluid out. Now I also have, one of these little guys, which also feels quite good. And, I'm a proponent of using these kinds of things. However, I did have a concern about, having the dome and closing the capillaries. So I thought, what is a better solution? And let's be truly honest, this, if you own one, more than likely sits in your drawer. And you want to be stimulating lymphatic cleansing daily if you can. Day and night is great. You really can't do it too much. However, I found that I just wasn't using this. It was sitting in my drawer, it was collecting dust. I just didn't have time. So I thought, what if we added treatment to a roller? And I created Beauty Hack. This is a hack because it has incorporated a treatment serum full of vitamin C ester for brightening, peptides for lifting and firming. It's in a clean base, so it's bioavailable. Your skin will immediately recognize these ingredients. It also, instead of a retinol, it has a bok choy, which is a natural version of a vitamin A to help with cell turnover. We will go into this serum in another segment. I'm not trying to do any sort of a hard sell here. I just wanted to talk to you about what we're doing here. And one thing that you'll notice is this steel roller is flat. So if you compare that to your jade roller, this is actually going to act to sweep fluid. And you can see it's so flat, you're just moving. So what I like to do is I start by turning it on, and I love the fact that it has an on-off switch because it keeps the product fresh. You're also never contaminating the product by sticking your finger in a tube. And I just start right here, and I'm kind of turning on those lymphatic channels, kind of getting them ready. I will dot a little bit. You'll notice that this comes out on both sides, and that has a soft green to it. That's actually chlorophyll and minerals, and what those do is they help to soothe and heal the skin. It actually is it's a very calming formula. It's in a base of gotucula, Centennial asiatica, which has been used in ancient Asian rituals for wound healing, to help with redness, rosacea, any sort of irritation. That green is on the opposite end of the color wheel, so it's going to help to reduce redness. Now that I've done my neck, I'm taking a lot longer here than I normally do in the morning and the evening. I'm just pushing out a little more, and I'm starting right here in the center of my face, coming up, sweeping down, across, and you can see I'm not pushing hard at all. I'm going to use a little extra zhuzh right there, and I'm pulling down, upwards and down. And the thing that's nice about this is You can use this with your existing cleanser if we play well with others. These ingredients, the vitamin C's, the CoQ10, the peptides, all in these clean natural bases are actually going to enhance the actives in any other products that you have. So you'll notice that you'll begin to see even greater benefits from the products that you already own. So I'm just very gently squeezing this product out as I go. You can even just dot it on your forehead or on your neck, on your cheeks, and then roll out if you'd like to. A lot of people feel like they use a lot less product and they have more control until you really get used to how much you have to push to get it out. It's really not much at all. So again, I'm taking about 3 times longer than I normally would. Turn it off. Make sure that we want to keep that airtight, and it's going to sit on your counter just like this. So you can actually sanitize it by wiping it down on a cotton pad with a little alcohol. You can spray it with alcohol, run it under warm water. Because it has the off on, it's going to stay nice and clean for you. So you can really, that's a great sanitary solution. Now we're at the eye area, one of the biggest areas of concern. So I created this little guy. And this is for the eye. It says tight and bright because you will notice that your eyes will feel tight and bright. Now this has a little roller too. So again, we're going to just turn that on. It has a nice little click. And you'll notice when I push this,